Wake up, Detroit. I'm Joanne Watson, and this is your wake-up call.
When a brown girl child is born, the earth shifts. The sun is at half-mast. The moon waits for her first cry. The ancestors set the table. The flowers turn red as blood. This is your land, continent daughter, with tree trunk legs and branches for arms. This is your soil, black and fertile as your eyes facing an apartheid Jim Crow current past memory. Some of us begin the removal of shackles at birth. We grow into the armor of struggle quickly. We brew courage in our tea, blend bravery into our Sunday dinners. Joanne Watson, you understand nation building is not a part-time job. This dedicated life is sometimes lonely, a vulnerable choice, but it is the only way you know how to operate. You are wired for the movement in your black women bones, even when tired, still fighting, still organizing, still singing morning spirituals. You were born to lead, even in your own family, the eldest of 10 children born to Jefferson and Lestine. You made Damon, Nefertari, Stephen, Maya. Her children always knew she was larger than life. When you are a woman in the movement, you take the children with you on the journey. You bring the babies with you to your college classes. When you travel to Ghana for the first time, it will be with your daughters in tow. When you are a fearless, nationalist thinking mama, mothering never stops with your own babies. 30 godchildren and mentees across the globe. The daughter of a ministering mother is already ordained for good trouble. A seer, a prophetic young student preparing for her lifelong role as servant to her own community. When your purse was snatched in a Farmer Jack parking lot many years ago with your kids' tickets to Run DMC in the purse, you made sure they still got to that concert and even hosted Melly Mel and the Furious Five in your living room, because queens make it look easy. When you were a single mom, people would tell you what you can't do. Instead, you moved to New York City with all 4 of your C's to do your necessary work with the YWCA, because queens make it look easy. Ghana, Togo, South Africa, where is your heart, Mama Watson? Nurturing spirit, baking melt in your mouth, homemade biscuits. How many hours do you sleep, Warrior Watson, with endless work ethic and blue-collar blood racing through your veins? How do we say thank you for your work, your time, your heart? We know you will never really retire. There is a fire on the path to freedom. There is smoke, there is sacrifice. There are stories of justice, of women, of Tubman, Sojourner, of Angela, Asada, Coretta, and Merle, and Betty, and Queen Mother Moore. Some of us know we are ancient, that our marrow is laced with legacy, that we are here to bring light to our daughters. Sometimes it just takes one woman, a mother, a grandmother, a Spitfire, griot, a sister, the only woman to lead the NAACP's largest chapter. She, daughter of the movement, of Rosa, of Irma. She was a birth that gave birth to possibility for other young activists like me, a true D woman, frontline Fatima, Nigerian blood, councilwoman, leader, truth teller, Joanne Watson, social worker, president of the Anti-Klan Network, sister, inspiration, dedicated to the protection of girls and the voices of women wrapped in West African beauty, regal and resilient. Wake up, Detroit. Wake up, South Africa. Wake up, Cuba. Wake up, small business owners. Wake up, White House. Wake up, reparations. Wake up, teachers. Wake up, women. Wake up, schools. Sleeping is not an option when the Honorable Joanne Watson is in the room.
Wake up, Detroit. I'm Joanne Watson. This is the day the Lord has made. We rejoice, hallelujah, and we're glad in it. I don't know about you, but I can't let a day go by without praising his name. During this Kwanzaa season, we certainly celebrate the wonderful, majestic birth of Jesus the Christ, but we also say Happy Kwanzaa, Habaragani. Habaragani. Now, on the first day of Kwanzaa, which was on Tuesday, the answer would be Umoja, unity. Yesterday would have been Kujichagulia, self-determination, but today is Ujima, collective work and responsibility. And we're so blessed to have two bad brothers in the house who represent collective work and responsibility. Clyde Walker, who's the owner. You know, I just love a black man that owns his own thing. He owns Walker's Heating and Cooling on West 8 Mile and John C. Lodge Service Drive, taking up a whole block, y'all, where he's taking care of the business of our people. Can do everything with heating and cooling and does it in a magnificent way. And we also salute his wonderful wife Marilyn, who has Pinky Sugar Shack. I've had some. I've had some of her baked goods. And what a husband invested in his wife's business. So he turned that one business into two in Detroit, y'all. Thank God for Walker's Heating and Cooling. Our brother Clyde Walker is here. We're also so blessed to have the senior vice president of the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History, Charles Ezra Farrell, in the house.
Yes.
Charles, a bad brother.
Thank you very much.
Revolutionary, and he's here to talk about Kwanzaa. We mentioned Kwanzaa earlier, but we have a treat tomorrow. That's Dr. Claude Anderson. Dr. Claude Anderson, who was educated in Detroit, who's got family in Detroit. Come on, somebody. Powernomics, black labor, white wealth. Dr. Claude Anderson, who better to lift up the principle of tomorrow, which is Ujamaa cooperative economics. And we're also going to get the good news about the reparations year in 2018 from the great senior vice president of the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History, Charles Ezra Farrell. You should also know, since we're in Highland Park, he is the cousin, the nephew of General Baker.
Absolutely.
My.
And I'm vice president.
Not
Senior vice
Oh,
president.
so vice president. Giving him a promotion, but vice president. And we know Juanita Moore is the president. And we send a salute out to the wonderful Roberta Hughes Wright, who watches every Thursday morning at 8. God bless you, Mother Roberta Hughes Wright, First Lady of the Charles H. Wright, the First Lady of the beloved Charles H. Wright, whom we loved and respect. We thank God for this Kwanzaa period. And as so, we want to just lift up the significance of those who have the wisdom and the knowledge to support their own, buy from their own people, and to buy in Detroit. That's one of the reasons time someone asks me about a heating and cooling expert, what do I say? Walker's Heating and Cooling.
That's the one to call.
That's the one to
That's the one
call.
to call right there.
Now, tell us how you got into the business, Clyde Walker,
Well,
and how long you've been in business, and what led you on this triumphant path.
I'm originally from Alabama. Yes. country
Mercy.
boy.
You know you're going to have me shout. My daddy from Alabama.
Come on now.
What county?
Monroe County.
My.
My hometown is the one where they made the movie To Kill a Mockingbird.
Wow.
My
Wow.
mom did day work for Harper Lee.
Isn't that something?
Yes.
Wow, you got history.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
So
there's a very important connection between Detroit and Alabama.
There certainly is.
In terms of history and politics. Of course, Dr. Charles Wright being from Dothan, Alabama.
Sure enough.
Ed Bond.
The Honorable Coleman Alexander Young,
absolutely,
born in Alabama.
Absolutely, Herb Boyd.
Hey,
is really,
hey.
Very replete with that deep connective history.
I love
between
Alabama
Alabama and Detroit.
I go down there every year just to put my father's, in honor of his legacy and his brothers and sisters and his mother, my grandmother, his grandfather, put money in the collection plate at the little church where he grew up, Roxana Baptist Church,
That's correct.
in Crenshaw County, Alabama.
Yeah. You know, when Africans fled from apartheid in the South, they came to Detroit to work. So you have that very strong work ethic, which we see manifest
You
itself
see?
in this brother's entrepreneurial genius.
Something about Alabama, man.
Yeah.
That's what and about Alabama women. Come on, somebody. Mother Rosa Parks.
yes.
That's true.
When you think about Alabama, and when you think about those sisters and brothers who sent somebody packing in a senatorial election just a few weeks ago.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they defied the experts who predicted somebody else was going to win.
That's correct.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. A book needs to be written about that connection. It's so significant and important and broad.
And Ed Bond, who everybody, every nationalist is aware, very active in this community, went back to Alabama to help take care of his mom, God rest her soul, and ended up being elected the state president of the Alabama NAACP. I love it. Detroit leading Alabama NAACP.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But Alabama is a part of your roots.
Yes. I came originally, like a lot of people, they come from the South to work in the automotive industry.
Yes, sir.
And I worked there for a while, but it never really panned out.
Hmm.
So through some, trial and error, I was eventually led into HVAC.
Wow.
I wanted
Air
to-
conditioning.
Yes, heating, ventilation, air conditioning.
Yeah.
And I went to school at Detroit Engineering Institute.
Oh, yes. It used to be operating in the city.
Yes, right down the street from Cass.
That's right.
But that's what led me to it. And one thing that I find in common with the youth
Yes.
that goes to trade school right now
Yes.
is what I experienced. And what I did experience, Detroit Indian was a great school. I
Yeah.
graduated with good grades and stuff like that, but I wasn't qualified
Wow.
to be a good serviceman. So and I went to a lot of different companies. Said, well, I answered all the right questions,
Yeah.
but that experience I didn't have.
Wow.
So my family and friends made sure I got that experience.
Go ahead.
Yes,
Go ahead.
So, but anyway, so I worked on, and I found that what the guys are doing today, you get a good, HVAC is a good trade.
Yes.
I mean, you can learn HVAC and go anywhere in the world and get a job.
Come on now.
Okay. And so, but the thing is, we got a lot of great schools in the city of Detroit. I'm so pleased with what I see, the growth of the city of Detroit. Because tomorrow is my 45th year anniversary of coming to Detroit.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But when I came here, I was in awe. First reason I was in awe because the coat that I wore was too thin.
My Lord.
Okay.
Oh,
weather.
the weather.
And, yes. And the next thing was, all the beautiful people, the business, the thriving, and all of that.
Yes.
And in my years here, I've seen it take a downturn, and now I see it coming back up again.
All right. Now, how long have you been in business here?
I've been in the field for about 32 years, in business about 25.
All right. Praise God. That's wonderful. And one of the things that you have been able to do to build a thriving, prosperous business is to not only glean the experience yourself, but you've also passed it along to others in the
You got
trade.
to, yes,
You made sure
yes.
that there were others who had gained that experience, so you don't just have a degree
Exactly.
for HVAC,
Exactly.
heating and air conditioning, but you also have experience.
Yes, and so that's what I put together, a educational training
Yes.
program that I went to a couple of the schools and
Yeah.
presented with, because my thing is to bridge the gap between business and the need for actual on-the-job training.
Now let me tell you a little secret.
Okay.
You shouldn't even have to go to the school; they should be coming to you.
Well,
So I'm a long distance runner in Detroit. I'm a
Okay.
native Detroiter. I was
Yes.
around. I was one of the monitors during the desegregation lawsuit against the Detroit Public Schools.
Okay.
And the answer to that lawsuit was the 5 Voc Tech Centers. Most of our citizens don't even they don't even know that the Randolph Voc Tech Center, the Brighthawk Voc Tech Center, the Golightly Voc Tech Center, the Crockett Voc Tech, all those were answers. Those were a legal response to the lawsuit filed. When I was a baby on the board of the NAACP,
okay.
we filed a suit
Okay.
against the institutionally racist practices of Detroit Public Schools.
Oh, okay.
Because I was blessed to be on a college prep curriculum,
Okay.
but my 5 brothers who were younger than me, they were automatically shifted into auto and nobody asked my parents, what do you want your children to be? Somebody else made decisions about
For them.
Yeah, I just benefited because I was the eldest. And the school, my school, was still being run by, because it had been formerly a Jewish populated school, Central High School.
Okay.
So I still had the college prep.
Right.
But by the time it got midway through, the Nichols children, help me somebody.
Oh, come on now.
The college prep went out the window,
Okay.
and it went from 13 foreign languages to 1.
See?
And no college prep.
Right.
So
So you're not prepared.
the folks were not prepared, and it was deliberate. It was purposeful. That's why the lawsuit was filed.
Oh,
It was
okay.
called Bradley versus Milliken.
Okay. Well,
And I knew Verda Bradley, whose son, Ronald Bradley, was the plaintiff in that lawsuit. So
Okay.
this is not old, this is current history.
Current
Those
history.
5 Voc Tech Centers, including Randolph, which was put in business to provide trade access. So they should be coming to you and giving you a contract so you can train our young people so they can graduate from high school with a trade, with the union card, and with the opportunity to work and make a living, and make $75,000, $80,000 a year or more.
Well, by the grace of God, I was blessed to be able to meet with the principal and some people from Randolph School just last week at my shop. And
I wonder if they know how they got started.
Well,
I'm not asking you. I'm
I
just
know.
asking
I
the
know,
universe.
Right, the whole thing started from me. Then I spoke with someone, Golightly. So I've been reaching out, and I've been well received.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
But the thing is, and the people that I've been speaking with about seeing if we could join form a partnership, they all agree that through my company, that kid can come out go out on
With
the job
hands-on
with us,
experience.
with hands-on along, and then he can connect the dots with
That's
what
right.
the theoretical side of it
Say
in
it.
the classroom.
Say it.
You know, and we have a duck shop. We have
Say it.
classroom space,
My.
so we can accommodate 50, 60 students.
Wow.
You know, in the classroom. Come into the classroom. If maybe they don't go to, we'll say Randolph, which is a real good school. They don't go to Randolph today. They'll say, listen, go to Walker's. Let's do the classwork and let's go right across.
Because
the
you take up
parking
a
lot.
whole city block over there on 8 Mile and John C.
Yeah,
Lyon.
but you know what though?
Yes.
This is my take on that. Okay? Number one is that I have never done anything with any significance by myself.
Praise God.
Of course.
Never have I.
Praise
So
God.
Yes, I got the block, but it's only operating at a fraction of its potential.
All right.
So
Well,
I
let's put
wanna
it out
give
there.
That
All
to
right.
the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To the community. You know what I mean?
And that's the kind of cooperative economics that Dr. Claude Anderson will be speaking about tomorrow. So this is a perfect segue
Yeah.
into what is going to happen at the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History under the leadership of Vice President Charles Ezra Farrell and, of course, President Juanita Moore and the Board of Directors. But we thank you for your leadership. This is a different Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History than it was just a few years ago. So we thank you, Charles Ezra Farrell. We thank you.
Thank you. And as the brother indicated, it is a collective
Yes.
a work on behalf of our entire staff to bring forth programming that's relevant for today.
Yes.
I did want to mention to you as well earlier, are you working with Wayne County Community College District?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, I would certainly entreat you to reach out, and of course, if they're listening, to reach out to you. As Sister Joanne indicated, they have a dual with students
Enrollment.
are dual enrollment for high school and college, but they also have a number of trade outreach, a little bit perhaps more mature, and could set up internships. And as you're thinking or describing your business, I think there may be opportunities for the museum
Okay.
to bring
Maybe you can help
students.
put it together, Rob,
We
because
can,
with that
certainly have a
General Baker
conversation
wisdom.
Post,
Yes.
to see how we could put our collective minds together
Yeah,
to
Love it.
move this
Certainly.
process forward.
I love it. Love
You
it.
know, because to do this, I was blessed. Like, I'm going to say briefly that, I was a street kid in Alabama. I came to Michigan to meet my dad. So I met my dad, and by the grace of God, I always got to keep him first. He allowed me to close the door on my past, meet a beautiful woman that they speak to Maryland. I met her in '73.
Come on now.
And we've been together forever. And so God blessed me to do good in my house.
Yes.
And I
Look
look
at
at
God.
my kids.
Look at God.
And see how they came out.
Look at
but
God.
He gave me so much more.
Yes.
Because when I first got the building over on 8 Mile, I wanted to just flip it. That's all I know. You know what I mean? Fix it up and sell it. But it didn't sell. Not because anything was wrong with it. You know what I mean? It's just that wasn't
That was
God's
God.
intended purpose.
God meant for you to keep it.
So the block, and when you put, and then I built another building, which I make my sheet metal in.
Yes.
And we cleaned up
Make
with
your
the
own
stuff
sheet
like
metal.
that.
That's what I'm talking about.
So now, then I can feed my soul because I've been so blessed.
You feed
I
other
can-
folks too. I've seen you do some fried turkeys out there in the
well,
lot.
I'm a country boy now. I got to cook a little bit. We like to cook. So, but I want to do something for the community.
Praise God.
You know what I mean?
Praise God.
And I see myself in.
We love a black man that's minding his own black business. We do. And we think our people need to own and
Yes.
not just work for somebody else. We need to own and not just rent.
Right.
We should own.
Right.
And not just lease, no, own and not just be working for somebody else. Our children should not just see themselves as future employees, but as owners.
Exactly.
I mean, we built the pyramids. We can build anything.
We can build anything.
Now, Charles Ezra Farrell is hosting a man tomorrow that's going to talk about ownership and doing for self and stop making everybody else rich while we suffer.
Right.
Absolutely. It's very important. The principles that you're discussing are really kind of rooted in Kwanzaa in terms of a concern for a family, for the community, for the culture, to go out and do good, to go out and change the world.
Exactly.
You come into this world for a certain sense of purpose, but you have to help others.
You do.
Yeah, so this is a very important. As I'm thinking about the frigid cold that we're having in Detroit,
My Lord.
it's undoubtedly there are many homes right now where there's no heat.
My Lord.
Exactly.
My
And-
Lord.
And I would ask
Or
you to
water.
give out your phone numbers so that those people who understand the principles of cooperative economics, of all the principals of Kwanzaa can give you a call.
Yes. Well,
So
that
that
number.
your phone could start ringing today
Come on
and
now.
heat these homes.
Yes. Well, my number is area code 313-862-4498. If you want to reach me directly, call me at 248-229-6817. Excuse me, 248-229-6816. If you call 17, you're going to get the bakery.
All right now.
Yes.
Praise God. Thank you so much for that, Charles Ezra Fairland. Thank you for being really the catalyst for a brand new way of owning and embracing Kwanzaa in Detroit, with the Charles H. Wright Museum hosting all 7 days.
Absolutely.
Because we used to travel around to different groups. You know, one group would sometimes be Al Kibulan, Insuroma Institute, or the Shrine. But now we can come to one place. And what better place than the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History to have all 7 days of Kwanzaa lifted up? So I salute you for having that leadership.
Well, thank you very much. 2018 is going to be such an important year as we reflect on the fact that it's the birth year of our founder, Dr. Charles Howard Wright.
Come on
who,
now.
Birthed more than 7,000 babies.
My.
Certainly had the economic means to be an individualist, which is a false concept.
That's right.
But understood the importance out of our tradition of taking focus on our children when
Say
we look
it.
at Africa, and found that they did not have a deep understanding of their history, of the fact that we were builders in building the pyramid.
That's right.
So when Howard Carter opened up the tombs of King Tut
My
in
Lord.
1822 and saw these black images,
Come on
at
now.
the same time they're making Africans demonic and dehumanizing us under enslavement, realizing that we're the founders of the calendar, the founders of
civilization.
astrological- Of civilization.
That's right.
Actually, that Europe.
It wasn't
was at
Rome
the
and
feet.
Greece.
Oh,
They
absolutely.
were in caves.
They were in
It was
darkness.
Africa.
Absolutely.
That was the birthplace of civilization and of humankind.
Absolutely.
The truth is, everybody is of African descent.
That's true. So you can see the interconnection between Kwanzaa, our African history, Dr. Charles Wright.
Come on now.
So I thought it was very important, Sister Joanne, that we align ourselves as a museum institutionally with an organization
Yes.
that's about UMOJO, African Liberation Day Committee.
That's right, that's
So
right.
I thank you for your leadership, because let it be known that it's because of you that we were able to seed the idea to bring forth Dr. Claude Anderson here, which was a perfect connection between his life work of promoting cooperative economics. As he talked about in Detroit, you cannot have a base. Here we have the predominant black city, where you had actually more, we should have an Africa town.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
every other community you go in the
Yes.
country, there's a Chinatown, Arab town.
And Detroit has a Greek town, a Mexican town, Asian town.
right in the
Come on,
heart
Tech
of where
town.
it should be.
Come on
Where
now.
the Second Baptist Church is.
Say that, say
I mean,
that.
That is really odd.
That's right.
To have Greek town in an area where you have an African pillar, like the
Exactly.
Second Baptist
Exactly.
Church.
Exactly.
So this is really important for people to wake up.
Wake
to
up,
understand
Detroit.
that we have to unify.
That's right.
And it's a matter of survival.
That's right.
At this point,
That's
it's a
right.
matter of survival and laying a foundation for our children. That's the quote. We need to focus on the next generation.
That's right.
We're here for a certain amount of time. But we actually been here forever.
Hey.
When you
Right.
look at our genes.
Show enough. Show
Your
enough.
parents are in you. Your
Yes.
grandparents are in us.
That's right.
Yes.
Go back to the beginning.
Say
We're
that.
very ancient.
That's right.
And yet we're present.
And we have an ancestral memory.
That's correct.
We have the capacity to go deep within. Of course, within us is the power of the Most High God.
That's correct.
We're special, sacred, spiritual beings. We're just spiritual beings having a physical experience right now. Flesh is temporary. Even when your flesh is no more, the spirit continues. This is why we should never mourn as though we don't understand. We're part of an holistic spirituality that makes sure that we understand that our ancestors are always present.
Just as you look at a universe, you see the circle of the moon, the circle in the eye, this whole concept of the circle, that there's a connection between the living, the dead,
Come
and
on
the
now.
unborn.
Come on now.
It's circular. It's not linear. You don't live and die,
No.
and it's over. No, there's a continual movement of the spirit.
That's
throughout
right.
this entire universe.
That's right.
Which is part of the mission of Kwanzaa. How do we take care of this world.
And we need to do that. When Dr. Maulana Karanga, who called me yesterday, actually wanted to know how our Kwanzaa went at the Child's Age, right? Of course, I screamed, "Ah! The founder of Kwanzaa calling me." He said that Los Angeles had a magnificent Kwanzaa celebration. He was glad to hear about Detroit's Kwanzaa celebrations, and that they're happening all over, not just all over America, but all over the world.
Really, millions. I think the estimate now is really kind of approaching 50 million.
Wow.
People who celebrate Kwanzaa. And of course, we have celebrated these principles, right? I mean, very important principles of unity, self-determination, collective work and responsibility, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity, faith. You know, all these are so essential to our movement forward. But I do want to make a point, if I could, that we had focused this past year on commemorating the 67 rebellion
Yes.
and looked at that. Rebellions throughout the world, particularly Haiti as a foundation
Come on now.
of peace. And what we found is that our fight has been a spiritual one,
Yes.
right? And that women have been at the forefront
Yes.
of our fight. And as we look into 2018, with all these centennials of Dr. Charles Howard Wright,
Come on now.
Coleman Young,
Well.
we have Nelson Mandela,
Mercy.
the bicentennial of Frederick Douglass, and of course the 50th commemoration of the assassination of King.
Yes.
Which is a very pivotal and decisive
And the
moment
RNA.
in our history. The 50th anniversary of the RNA, and we'll be lifting up Queen Mother Moore.
Come on now.
We have Adam Clayton Powell's anniversary. We'll
Yes.
be celebrating Walter Rodney's
Come on now.
symposium. It's a lot to do. It's a lot of history that we have to pass on, and we have to get very serious about it.
That's right.
I want to use this forum, if I could, just to promote a couple books.
Yes.
One is by the great Vincent Harding.
Come on, somebody.
One
With
of
his
our
bad
Council
self.
of Elders.
Yes.
Who wrote a book called Martin Luther King, The Inconvenient Hero.
My Lord.
This book, the United States typically will attempt to try to freeze Dr. King in 1963, where everyone thinks about King and immediately they think about I Have a Dream.
Right.
That's 63 King. King and Malcolm both were in their area of work for 13 years.
My Lord.
King from 55 to 68, Malcolm from 52 to 65. Both worked in their area for 13 years. Both were assassinated, political assassinations at the age of 39.
Lord have mercy,
but
Jesus.
King had actually advanced to move forth with this Poor People's Campaign.
That's right.
And also helping the sanitation workers in
Economic
Memphis.
justice. He moved
Economics.
it from just political voting rights to economic justice, which is reparations.
Reparations.
To economic justice, and he did so with great thought. It was not done happenstance.
No, absolutely.
He thought it was a deliberate action.
Deliberate,
just like his
strategic action.
a speech against the Vietnam War was deliberate, and also flying in the face of not only the so-called ruling class, but some of our own people.
Absolutely.
The many people now who wrap themselves up in Dr. King, help me, Holy Ghost.
That's right.
And they talk about how they marched with him. They were out. Some of those Negroes were up under the bed when he was alive.
That's correct.
They did not all stand with Dr. King.
That's
They did
correct.
not support him.
That's correct.
No, everybody did not. The local NAACP did not support Dr. Even though they rushed to the front of the march with a lot of signs.
Right.
Right. It was Reverend Dr. C.L. Franklin,
Right. That's correct.
Aretha's father,
That's correct.
who led that march, Walk to Freedom, through Woodward Avenue, the largest march before the 63 march in D.C.
June 23rd.
Come on, somebody.
1963.
You better say I was 12
Know
years
your
old in that
history.
march.
Know your history.
You better say it.
Yeah.
So we need to know the backdrop. Everything has a history, and Dr. King was not the same man in 68 as he was in 63.
No. So he did fuse with this whole concept of Kwanzaa and cooperative economics, and certainly have focused on building your own businesses. There's another book I just want to briefly bring before the
My
listening
Lord.
audience and
My
the
Lord.
viewing audience. Is a national best-selling author, William Pepper. The book is called The Plot to Kill King. This is a riveting book that where you have a 30-year investigation led by the attorney for the King family, William Pepper, Dr.
Yes.
William Pepper, Esquire,
Yes.
who brought forth a lawsuit in 1999 and won.
Yes.
Coretta Scott King states, "We recommend this book to everyone who seeks the truth about Dr. King's assassination.
My Lord.
Here they found that the FBI,
Yeah.
the CIA,
Say it.
Army Intelligence, Memphis Police, the Mafia, and also the medical staff at the hospital, St. Joseph, for Dr. King was taken, all were co-conspirators in killing King. For example, in this book, just one thing briefly I'll mention is it's revealed that King, on page 260, if I could just read on page 260, it states, the ambulance carrying the wounded Dr. King, Dr. Abernathy, and Bernard Lee set out for St. Joseph Hospital at approximately 6:10 p.m. Some 5 minutes later, it arrived at the hospital, and Dr. King, still breathing and alive, was carried into the emergency room just after 6:15, where one would expect work would begin in a frantic effort to save his life. What has never been satisfactorily explained, or perhaps even revealed until now, was the large presence of military intelligence officers who had taken up positions in the hospital well before the shot was fired.
My Lord. My
According
Lord.
to Dr. Causeway, who was on duty at the time, the military intelligence officers knew the names of all the emergency room nurses and doctors on duty. He observed that no consideration was given to moving the critically injured victim to the operating room, and that he saw no surgical effort being made to save him.
My Lord.
When he inquired about treatments, he was told that he was being treated.
My Lord.
Just to go down a little bit further, this nurse saw a huge hole in his lower left side of his face, but heard from one ER doctor to say that he had a pulse. ER doctors had performed a tracheotomy and inserted a breathing tube. She said that in a while she heard the surgery who appeared to have been Dr. Bland, discussed earlier, came in the emergency room with a couple of men in suits and shouted at the staff working on Dr. King, "Stop working on the nigger and let him die." Now all of you get out of here right now. Everybody get out. Later they heard 3 spitting sounds. This caused her on the way out to glance back over her shoulder to see that the breathing tube had been removed, and Dr. Bland put a pillow on or over the face of Dr. King. She said she believed that he was still alive, however barely. Without a doubt, if he was alive, as it appeared to be, he would have been suffocated. Now that's just a brief excerpt from a riveting book of over 700 pages.
Called The Plot to Kill King.
Dr. Pepper will be at the Charles Wright April 4th
Come on now.
on the anniversary date of the assassination, the political assassination of King.
My Lord.
It's so replete when you look at the nature of this state, and it's so important that we as a people need to continue to read, continue to study, and continue to unify.
Yes.
And this year, 2018, will be called at the Charles Wright the year of reparations. Now we're looking and going to the root of the word.
Yes.
Repair. That's what reparations mean.
That's right.
You know, you go in a home, it's frozen. You can't function. You have to repair that system.
That's right.
To bring in that heat. If we don't have a correct understanding with our health, we'll have a life series devoted to Dr. Charles Wright.
My.
In terms of our health disparities, to take a look at. In terms of meditation, what is broken, what needs to be healed.
Yes.
It's a very broad concept.
Yes.
Now, in addition, we will be focusing on reparations.
Yes.
In terms of your connections and allowing us to bring in, for example, Dr. Raymond Wimbush.
My.
On African Liberation Day. We'll be bringing
Dr.
in
Ray Wimbush, of course, is the author of Should America Pay? One of the greatest primers on the whole holistic scope of reparations and why there is ought to be a demand for reparations from everybody of African descent.
And also Sir Hilary Beckle.
Sir Hilary Beckles.
April 21st. Randall Robinson is coming in
My.
July 18th to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Nelson Mandela.
Sounds like
We
I'll be
also
at
are
the
going to
museum.
be doing a tribute to the great Walter Rodney
My.
on his birth date of how Europe underdeveloped Africa.
Yes.
To take a look at some of the helping to explain why conditions are the way they are.
And the United States, when you look at the fact that Congressman Charles Diggs, who's from Detroit, and he was the real founder of the Congressional Black Caucus.
Right.
He was the founder.
Right.
And Congressman Conyers told me once that when he went to, he and Congressman Diggs went to Adam Clayton Powell, Congressman Powell, to say they thought we ought to have a Congressional Black Caucus. I was told that Powell leaned back in his chair and smoked his cigar and said, "You don't need a Congressional Black Caucus, you got me." But Congressman Charles Diggs said, "I think we need a Congressional Black Caucus to live beyond us."
Yeah.
And praise God.
Yeah, absolutely.
It has lived beyond
Yeah,
the initial founders. So it's important for us to have institutions. And that's what you are helping to lift up in 2018, the institutions and the people and the movements and organizations that have been spawned by those who have been leading advocates for reparations. So I'm so appreciative of your doing that.
Yeah, and we're so happy to be able to embrace this broader theme and take a really critical look at our history and to make certain that we reach out to children through our Freedom School.
Say so.
We have every
Dr. Gloria
Saturday
House.
from 10 until 1 o'clock.
My.
Former professors, because we aren't going to let the system, in this terms of self-determination, we'll have former professors come and teach our children on Saturday from 10 to 1. So all those in the listening audience who have children who can come out from 10 to 1 each Saturday under the leadership of Dr. Gloria Annette House,
Yeah.
former professor emeritus at
That's
Wayne
right.
State and former chair and professor at the University of Michigan, Dearborn, leading a team of, these are not high school or college students. These are all former professors
Yes.
who are teaching our children,
Right.
which we need to do.
Yes.
So it's a very important mission that we're on. I really thank you for your leadership. As we indicated, we would not have connected so quickly to Dr. Claude Anderson or to Raymond Wimbush. And if you could, if you don't mind, Sister, talk for a moment about NARC and the role and some of the missions that's been taking place in
Well,
this
thank
country.
you, Charles Ezra Field. NARC is the National African American Reparations Commission, and it's a wonderful group that's been convened by Dr. Ron Daniels. Many of us know Dr. Ron Daniels, the founder of the Institute of the Black World 21st Century, who works very closely with Don Rojas and others. But this entity has put together a NARC group, National African American Reparations Commission, to really turn the needle on reparations, to move it from a marginal entity supported by some radicals in this country so that everybody can own it holistically and move it forward. So the organization that has just completed a magnificent New Orleans, Louisiana convocation, an international convocation, showing that all the Caribbean nations who demanded reparations, like many of us in this country who are demanding reparations, coming together, and we have one solid block of people moving the needle for reparations forward.
Absolutely. Another new growth development. I think anything that's alive has to have new growth sprouting, something developing, just can't stay the same forever. That's how you know you have an artificial plant or a live plant.
But NARC is not reinventing the wheel, so it is enveloped. And many of the leadership of NCOBRA, National Coalition of Blacks for Reparations in America, Republic of New Africa members are also present. Many of the attorneys who have sued this country for reparations, like Dr. Claude Anderson, Aljo Toro, and others, are part of this effort. So and there's even now there's another effort. The wonderful brother who is Morgan State University, Dr. Ray Wimbush, has a hashtag 40 group that he's leading with Sister Ife Williams and others that is taking an even stronger cutting edge look at forcing reparations to a higher stage. And he's connecting with brothers in Nigeria and all over the world to make sure that we have our own finances to move it forward. We're not dependent on anybody else.
Absolutely. In terms of the reparations thrust from the museum, 2018 will start our first global historical journey.
Excellent.
So we're going to start traveling to the African diaspora.
Come on now.
Our first location will be the St. Kitts Nevis.
My.
Under the leadership of Hazel Ross Robinson,
My.
the wife of Randall Robinson.
Say so.
We're going to have historians on the ground from May 1st through May 7th.
Excellent.
We're taking 50 people, please contact me, the listening audience, if you're interested in going. This is not a normal vacation to the Caribbean. As I indicated, we're going to look at the history of enslavement. St. Kitts was a strategic location for the Spanish and the French and British coming to the enslavement project because it's a strategic location. But it has a lot of rich architecture that still stands that was by the hands of enslaved Africans and a very strong labor movement. So we're going to explore that history of St. Kitts from May 1st to May 7th, part of our global historical journey. In terms of the subline of our programming is the year of reparations,
Yes.
repairing and rebuilding our global communities.
I love it.
Yeah, so that's going to allow us to have a very broad reach and to travel and understand our history more
Excellent.
closely.
Excellent. As we close, I want you to let everyone know where the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History is located, and also to remind them about Dr. Claude Anderson tomorrow.
Absolutely. We're located at 315 East Warren. We're right in the Cultural Center area at Warren, between really John R. and Brush area, across from the DIA and the Michigan Science Center. The large, unbelievable, and magnificent edifice that you would see there. Really, it's been the largest museum in the country before the National Museum opened in September 23rd, 2016. Dr. Claude Anderson will be here Friday, the 29th at 6 p.m. Please come. We're going to have a very robust book sale of his latest book. And of course, you'll be introducing him, the great Claude Anderson, who talks about Detroit and knows Detroit very intimately in terms of our struggle and where we can stand and what we need to do to move the process forward. In terms
He was
of,
educated at Wayne State University.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the dollar needs to flip. The dollar flips 18 times
Come
in
on,
the Jewish community.
come on now.
It doesn't flip once. It doesn't bounce once, typically.
No, it's gone in 6 hours.
Yeah,
It's
so
a
we wanna
disgrace before God.
address that.
Come on,
Now,
somebody.
we have been doing a bit. I just want to say quickly, the Black Friday Marketplace has been an event that we have. We'll probably move that to Saturday to encourage entrepreneurs. And we do have a vendor marketplace every day for Kwanzaa.
Amen.
So that you can come down and certainly spend your dollars and give it to someone who looks like you and help strengthen our community.
That's right. That's right. And thank you very much. And Clyde Walker,
Yes,
let
ma'am.
everyone know how they can identify the baddest brother in the heating and cooling business in Detroit, Clyde Walker.
Well, just simply by calling 313-862-4498. We got the best service. We've got fantastic furnaces. We're a trained dealer.
Yes.
So if you want the best or, down a little bit depending on what you want to do, but you can always depend on us. We do plumbing, duct fabrication, duct cleaning, and I like to say that one thing that we all have, a commonality that we all have, that's the fact is that most of the illnesses that we suffer from is indoor air quality.
Wow.
It's the quality of the air that we're breathing in
My
our
Lord.
home.
My Lord.
And that's why it is very, very important to service your unit every year and at least have those ducts clean. You can't live in that house forever and just look at the outside and the inside. You got to think about your breathing.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So you call Walker's
As an
Heating and
example,
Cooling.
just think about when we wash and dry our clothes. Every so often, you got to clean those vents and
You got
the
to.
clothes dryer.
You do.
And the things you pull out of that vent,
Right.
that's what's in your air ducts.
Exactly.
So we need to clean it out.
That and more.
Come on, somebody.
Absolutely. So, if you address those issues, then you'll feel a lot better. If you have
Yes.
any questions, maybe, we can help you just by answering the question. Maybe you don't need service. Feel free to call us up for any advice, 313-862-4498. We'd be happy to help you.
Yeah,
We-
those heating issues will also help lower the heating bill.
Absolutely.
In terms of reparations around your health and
That's right.
air.
And
And his business is in Detroit. Don't go to calling somebody in a suburban outlet. Help me, somebody.
call us up.
Call Walker's Heating and Cooling in Detroit. Call if you're doing some family cultural infotainment during this holiday period. Don't go outside the city. Go to the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History
Absolutely.
on
Absolutely.
East Warren Avenue between Woodward and the Chrysler Freeway. We need to support ourselves, love ourselves.
Absolutely. I just want to give the listening audience who may not know our number is 313-494-5800. Please visit our website at www.theright, that's THEWRIGHT.org. Look at our event page. We do over 400 programs a year.
Wow.
And we are certainly going to have some strong programming this quarter.
Wow.
And throughout 2018, bring your family. Most of our programs are free.
Yes.
And open to the public, although it does cost us. So we do ask for your membership.
Yes.
Since this is our museum, it's our institution.
That's right.
It's our home.
That's right.
So come home.
That's right.
And you can also visit us at www.walkersheatingandcooling.com. www.walkersheatingandcooling.com. You can get a view of our facilities and get a little history on us.
That's all right now.
Excellent.
Praise God. We're saluting the principle of this day, collective work and responsibility. Ujima. As we say Habaragani to you, the answer is Ujima, collective work and responsibility. We've had two outstanding examples of collective work and responsibility, and our brother Clyde Walker and our brother Charles Ezra Farrell. And we're so glad you've been a part of this wake-up call on this day. And we want you to also send a wake-up message to our brother, who's the owner of this station, R.J. Watkins, a black-owned television station. How about that? A brother who's had a made-up mind to own his own.
Absolutely.
We thank God for R.J. Watkins, and if you have a love letter you want to send to him during the holiday period, you can send it to 160 Victor, 48203. We want to send our condolences and our love and sympathy to the family of our brother, the Honorable Earl Wheeler, who for many years was a city councilman here in Highland Park, one of the foundation families in Highland Park, Earl Wheeler, who often drummed us into Kwanzaa time with African presentations throughout Highland Park, who we send a special prayers to his wonderful wife, Naomi Wheeler, one of those great mothers in the Mothers Club of Highland Park, and his daughter, Linda, and to the entire Wheeler family. The whole city of Highland Park knew, loved, and respected our brother Earl Wheeler, whose homegoing will be celebrated on this Saturday. So you can call the city of Highland Park for more information, or look on the Facebook page. They have all of his arrangements laid out. Thank you for being a part of our wake-up call this day. We'll see you tomorrow at 6 o'clock at the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History, as we pay homage to the principle of Ujamaa Cooperative Economics, and we welcome our hometown brother, Dr. Claude Anderson, back to Detroit. Black Labor, White Wealth, Powernomics. You're going to get the truth with a capital T from Dr. Claude Anderson on this special day tomorrow, 6 p.m. at the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History. You know, I never say the right. I say the whole name. We knew Brother Charles H. Wright. We give God all the praise. God alone is worthy to be praised. Wake up, Detroit.